Hey guys, Andrea here, born again baby and creator of Cards for Humanity. And I wanted to check in with you because I have a crazy story that I wanted to tell you. A couple weeks ago, I was in Peru for my job, and I just got this job about 6 months ago. I'm working for a woman who's an international speaker. She's a master of bioenergetics, so she talks about energy and the way energy moves through your body. And one of the things that she also does is she leads these journeys or these trips to sacred sites around the world to talk about kind of the ancient civilizations and maybe a little bit more esoteric history of what happened in these sites. So it was about 4 weeks ago. I'm in Peru with my boss in this group, and we're having our opening night, and it's orientation. And she poses these questions to everybody. She goes around the room and she invites everybody to share their yes. Why did they say yes to this trip? Why are they here in Peru? What was their soul calling them to do? What are they doing here, type of thing, just to check in as the journey's about to begin. So we go around the room and I'm listening to everybody share these incredible stories, these synchronicities and these signs and the reason why they decided to take this leap and go to Peru. And I start asking myself, I'm here for my job, but there's a bigger reason why I'm here as well. I'm sure that there is. But I hadn't really thought about it until I went down to Peru. So as I'm listening to everybody's stories, I started to ask myself, what's my yes? What am I doing here? And it dawned on me that it had been about 12 years, almost to the month, that I'd been in Peru the last time. And I started thinking about why I took that trip 12 years ago. And everybody that I knew thought that I was taking this trip probably because they thought I was having a quarter life crisis and quit my job and I sold my car and chucked it all and went traveling for a year. And that's kind of what I did. I mean, that's what I told everybody that I was doing. But what I never shared with anybody 12 years ago is that the reason I was going to Peru was I wanted to go find a shaman. And I had these dreams, and I never knew what the dreams meant. And one night I shared these dreams with a friend of mine, way back when I was in college. And this friend listens to these dreams, and he says to me at the end, well, Andrea, those are shamanic dreams. And I was 19 at the time, and I'm thinking, what the hell is a shaman? What do you mean I'm having shamanic dreams? I don't even know what that means. And it kind of threw me for a loop. But it also piqued my curiosity, and so I started reading books about shamans, and it's really the very beginning of when I started to study spirituality and open up into this kind of bigger worldview that science and religion doesn't talk about. This bigger energetic field and the thing that exists that we don't necessarily see with our own eyes. So when I was 25, I had become so intrigued with this idea of understanding what we couldn't see that I decided to quit my job, and I was going to go take this trip because I knew I wanted to find this answer. But I didn't really know what I was looking for. I mean, I didn't know what it was that I wasn't seeing. I just knew that I felt it. So when I got on the plane, we were heading to Peru, the very first spot we were going to, and I knew that a lot of shamans lived in Peru. So secretly, what I didn't tell my parents or anybody else was that I wanted to go down there and find a shaman and somebody that could tell me what it was that I was feeling on the inside that I couldn't necessarily see physically on the outside, but I knew was true. Sort of this deeper than this meaning of life, these dreams that I've been having, these feelings I've been experiencing. So 12 years ago, I went to Peru and I looked for this shaman, and I don't know how you find a shaman, but there was lots of signs for shamans, like, come take this ayahuasca journey with us up to Machu Picchu for only $2.99. And I thought, I don't think that's exactly what I'm looking for. So I never really found a shaman. I never really found a person that could tell me. I did end up finding a school in Guatemala a few months later called the Pyramids. And if you follow any of my journeys, the Pyramids is a huge part of my path. But it wasn't necessarily that one person that could answer the questions of what did this dream mean? What did these dreams mean? And sort of be my personal guide, someone I could work closely with. So I'm having all these thoughts, remembering that, standing in Peru 4 weeks ago, listening to everybody's yes, and I'm sitting there thinking, well, 12 years ago, I came to Peru looking for a spiritual teacher or a shaman, and I didn't find one. But now it's 12 years later, and I'm standing in this room with this incredible woman who also happens to be my boss. And the funny thing is when she first started her career, people just labeled her a shaman in a business suit. So I'm listening to all these stories, and I'm looking at her, and I'm realizing my yes right then and there was, even though it took me 12 years, I was back in Peru, and I had finally found that person that I had been looking for all those years ago. And the thing that I think is absolutely crazy about this story is, and the reason I wanted to share it with you is, it has to do about endurance and destiny and fate in a way. Because I believe that everything that we feel in our hearts, even when it doesn't make sense to our heads, even when it says, quit your job, sell your car, jump on a plane and go travel to Peru looking for a shaman because you had these crazy dreams. I mean, that sounds insane. And I thought I was insane at the time, but I did it. And even though I didn't find it then, I never gave up. I traveled for a year. I continued to look for spirituality. Like I said, I found that center called the Pyramids, and I ended up going there, and then that changed my entire path. And years later, I was on a plane to Thailand, continuing to look for things. And when I came home from Thailand about 4.5 years ago, I didn't go back to the professional career. I ended up becoming a waitress for many years, knowing that I would never give up on searching for these answers. I would never give up on following this feeling that I had inside of me. And it was just mind-blowing to me and so humbling that 4 weeks ago I'm sitting in Peru and I'm no longer a waitress. Not that there's anything bad with being a waitress, it's just it was something that I was doing while I was trying to get to this other place. And I'm in Peru. I realize I'm not doing that anymore. I'm working for a spiritual teacher who is going to be taking trips around the world, and she's spreading a message that I absolutely believe in, science and spirituality. And I just thought, I'm here. It took me 12 years, but I'm here. And this is probably the teacher that I was looking for. And what kind of makes me feel so humbled about life is this question of, did I find her in this job, in this whole path? Did it come to me because I wanted it? Or did I always want it because it was always going to come to me anyway? And we're never going to know the answer to that question, but I just wanted to share that with you because it got me thinking that, this story of mine isn't unique. It happens for everybody as long as you listen to that feeling inside of your heart and never give up on it. It's there for a reason, and you can ignore it for years, but it will never go away. It is your truth, your soul speaking to you. So get on the plane or quit the job or stay in the job. Whatever that feels like to you, do it. And even if it doesn't turn out the way that you want it to. I have a friend who recently quit her job after many, many years, and she followed this feeling. And she went to another state. She completely changed her career path, and it's been about almost 2 years, and it didn't turn out the way she thought. And so she's thinking, maybe I'll go back and do what I did before. And that's fine if that's what she feels, but none of these things are mistakes. When you follow this feeling, it teaches you something, it leads you somewhere. And you may feel confused and you may not know what you're doing. There were so many times on my path in the past 12 years that I felt like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I doing this? This is insane. I should just go back and get a job. I should just go back and do these things. But I couldn't. I never gave up. And I feel like because I never gave up, life was sitting there right there with me saying, well, then we won't give up on you. And I say that life's never going to give up on you anyway. Life's always there supporting you, helping you, always whispering in your ear, take this path, go this way. And it comes through that feeling inside of you. Not the thoughts in your head, but that feeling inside. So this kind of weird story of, I had this dream, I got on a plane, I went to go look for a shaman, didn't find one, spent 12 years continuing on this path, end up back in Peru, and there it is. There's my spiritual teacher, there's my shaman, who's now my boss. And I'm so humbled and I'm so amazed and I'm so in awe of the perfection of life. And I'm so grateful that I never gave up. And, I even shared the story with her while I was down there, and she said, "So what's this dream that you had?" And I even told her the crazy dreams that I had that my friend said, "Oh, those are shamanic dreams." And she says, "Yeah." Not that they were shamanic dreams, but she told me the images and she kind of explained to me what those dreams meant, something that I could never figure out in my entire life. So all I'm saying is I hope that you feel that feeling in your heart. I hope that you trust it, and I encourage you to follow it. It's going to take you on the wildest ride, but as long as you continue to cultivate it and nurture it and build a relationship with it. I mean, court it like a relationship, like your beloved, and it will respond back to you and it will never give up on you. So maybe someday you'll be sitting here filming a little story to tell your friends and family in the whole social media Facebook world, saying, "I'm so glad that I listened to that feeling inside. I'm so glad I never gave up on it. And here I am telling you what happened for me and how incredible life really is if we just believe it to be so and allow it to be so." So that's my story for you this evening, and thank you for listening. And I hope that you keep checking in here, because I've got lots of other stories that I'd love to share with you, but this one in particular I had to sit down and share tonight because it just kind of blew my mind. It took 12 years, but here I am. And you know what? Who knows what's going to happen in the next 12 years. So thank you for listening to my story. I'd love to hear yours sometime too. So be good, listen to that feeling inside, never give up, trust, and yeah, I love you all. Have a wonderful evening.